Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm just delighted to be here this morning in Paris on our Cloudforce tour. It's been a while since I've been in Paris, and it's great to be back here, and it's great to be with all of you. We're having a great time, and today we're going to have a great morning. What we plan to do for you this morning is something very important. What we want to do is we want to open a door. We want to open a door, and we want to really bring all of you through it. And what that door is really a door to the future. Well, we want to be able to communicate to you what we see as our vision for the future of our industry, something that we call Cloud 2. And we want to show you how that Cloud 2 is going to fundamentally change the way that we work with our customers. The way that we work with our customers through dynamic conversations. You know, we really see the emergence of this new social enterprise. It's an amazing time in our industry. It's really unlike anything I've ever seen. The level of innovation, the level of excitement, the level of motivation around this social enterprise that is appearing before our very eyes with new devices and new technologies and new capabilities. And we hope to paint that picture for you today. So over the next 2 hours, what we want to do is walk you through a series of vignettes and show you products that we have, but also introduce you to key customers and introduce you to this key vision of Cloud 2. Because we believe that it's Cloud 2 is where we all need to move to. And with that, let me begin my presentation. Now today at Cloudforce Paris, we've got over 1,500 attendees here today. It's our largest presentation that we've ever done in Paris. We have 22 cloud leaders that you're going to be hearing from. There's 19 breakout sessions in addition to today's keynote presentation, and we have over 40 demonstration stations for you to show you and to go into the technical detail behind Cloud 2. We want to make this an immersive experience for you today. We wanted to make it an intensive experience for you today. And we want you to leave understanding what we mean by Cloud 2 and with your own personal vision of what it can do for your company, how you can transform your own organization using Cloud 2. Well, this is an exciting time. It's a breakthrough time. It's a threshold for our industry. Make no mistake about it, we're going to look back at these formative years and see that a whole new world opened up, a new level of value. And that's why you see new companies getting created, new technologies getting created. As I said before, I've just never seen this level of innovation and excitement in our industry before. And we hope to bring that for you today, this morning. Before I begin, Salesforce.com is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. This is our safe harbor statement. If you've seen a presentation that I've done before, you're familiar with it. And if not, you can also find it on our website. Well, on March 8th, 1999, we started Salesforce.com with this very simple vision. A vision of the end of software, of a new day for our industry, where we wouldn't be buying software and buying hardware and installing it and fundamentally hiring the people responsible to run it. That instead, we would have a new industry of services, where companies would be able to subscribe to services, and the very nature of IT would transform to be an organization who would know how to use those services and how to put them to work for companies, how to transform their organizations using a wide variety of services available directly on the internet itself. And for 12 years, I've been walking stages like this around the world talking about cloud computing. I think the first presentation that I did in Paris over 10 years ago was not quite the size of the room today. In fact, I think maybe there were only 2 or 3 people there. But it has grown, and it continues to grow, because the clarity of the future is very, very simple. The idea is that we are moving into a new world. And as evidence of that, you can see Salesforce.com's revenue over the last decade and longer has grown, and we just gave our official guidance that we'll do more than $2.1 billion in revenue this year, making us one of the very largest software companies in the world today. And yet we continue to be religiously adhered to this critical new model. We're the 4th fastest growing company in the world, according to Fortune magazine. And we are very, very excited about this strong growth that we've had, not only in revenue, but of course in customers, where we have over 100,000 customers around the world, about 90,000, as you can see on the screen, who pay us, and about 10,000, and I'm about to talk to you about this in a second, who receive our products for free. And I'm sure you know that Salesforce.com doesn't charge charities or nonprofits or non-governmental organizations for our services. So we have about 10,000 of those who are part of our Salesforce ecosystem. You know, the fundamental premise of Salesforce.com and the way we started our company was, hey, applications will be moving to the cloud. So applications are moving to the cloud, and of course we were the first, but we are quickly followed by many other exciting applications, and I'm sure you have some of those applications running in your organization today. Those applications replacing those traditional client-server applications that replace the traditional mainframe applications. Our industry is constantly moving forward. Our technology is constantly getting lower cost and easier to use. Our industry is a continuum, and if you're riding that continuum, of lower cost and easier to use, you're bound to have this kind of success. And that's what we really hooked our application strategy onto. And so applications are moving to the cloud. But right behind that, something amazing happened for all of us. And what happened was that platforms, the very essence of building applications, started moving to the cloud as well. Databases, application development tools, application servers, rapid application development environments. Instead of actually going to buy tools to build this technology, we were able to do it right from the cloud. So it wasn't just applications that we were consuming from the cloud, but it was platforms that we were consuming from the cloud as well. That was an amazing phenomenon. That was a spectacular change. Applications moving to the cloud, platforms moving to the cloud, and all kinds of technology moving to the cloud, including one of the most exciting areas that we've been involved in a long time, collaboration itself moving to the cloud. It's been a long time since we've seen a shift in collaboration. Technology like Lotus Notes, well, I think it was conceived of before the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. That's amazing. You know, decades-old technology still at the heart of our companies. Something is not right about that. And I can tell you, with the youth that we're hiring out of universities coming into our workforce, and we're handing them old technology like Lotus Notes or Microsoft SharePoint and saying, here, be productive. And they say, what? What is this? This is not how I work. You know, I work on Facebook, I work on Twitter, I work on an iPad. You know, I work on an Android device, where's that? And instead, we're giving them a green screen, we're giving them a blue screen, we're giving them a yellow screen. It's just not right. And they're going to be the catalyst of these changes in our industry if we don't make the change now ourselves. In addition to collaboration and moving to the cloud, databases. As database cost has increased and as database complexity has increased, finally now we've also seen that we can move our databases to the cloud. So we can reduce that high cost of database technology, the complexity of database technology. And the databases that we've been traditionally buying, well, they're losing their significance in our companies. And they're being replaced by these next generation of cloud systems as well. This is a broad shift in cloud computing that is affecting all aspects of our industry. It's amazing what's happening. It's amazing. It's transformational, and it will leave our industry completely different than ever before. And we see it affecting companies of every size. Everywhere I go around the world, I ask myself a simple question. Who are these customers that are really embracing cloud computing? And I'd like to show that example to you right here. If your company has more than 1,000 employees, would you raise your hand if you have more than 1,000 employees in your company? Okay, so is everybody looking around the room when all the hands are up? And if you have less than 1,000 employees, put up your hand. Okay, isn't that interesting? It's about half and half. And everywhere I go in the world, it's about half and half. You know, when I was at Oracle for 13 years before I started Salesforce in 1999, we only sold to companies with more than 1,000 employees. Because you need to be a big company with an IT staff and ready to take on the complexity, but also are you ready to take on that risk of Oracle, the risk of enterprise software, that risk of SAP? That was for companies with 1,000 employees and above. They had to be willing to take on that risk, and it was the IT staff that took that on. And then small businesses were very much left out in the cold. They had to go to a different seminar, a different program, different technology. But cloud computing is different. And this is why we're all here today. That's why we're able to bring the whole IT community of Paris in one roof. We're not sending small business over here and large business over there. No. We're all coming together. We're all coming together as a unified IT community to embrace cloud computing. It makes our industry bigger. It makes our industry stronger. It makes our industry more integrated. And with a set of shared skills, it's a boost to the fundamental economy of our technology industry. And it is for small companies, it is for medium companies, and it is for the largest and most important companies in the world today. And our customers are, in fact, those companies. The largest and most important companies in the world use Salesforce.com. It's true here in France. It's true here in Europe. It's true in the United States. It's true in Asia. Wherever we go, the largest and most important companies in the world are choosing cloud computing, and the smallest and newest companies in the world are choosing the exact same solution. And that also is a huge breakthrough for our industry. But I have to explain to you why that is. You see, when we built this beautiful center here, when we built this beautiful presentation hall and the Hilton Hotel next door, of course, we didn't put in our own water plant. We didn't put in our own nuclear power plant for power. We didn't put in our own sanitation plant for sanitation. We used shared utilities. We used shared services. And this is the nature of all networks. They eventually have these kind of shared capabilities. And this is where we get cost and efficiency and power. This is the cloud computing model. This is what we call the multi-tenant model. And this multi-tenant model also means that as we upgrade those utilities, everybody gets the update. Did you know that no one is on the old version of Salesforce.com? Everyone is on the current version of Salesforce.com because it's a shared service. I remember back in my days at Oracle, and everyone was on the last version of Oracle, or 2 versions, or 3 versions, and the only way we could get people to upgrade was to alert them, well, we're de-supporting this release. We're de-supporting Lotus Notes, so you better move to the next version. We're de-supporting Oracle Release 8, you better move to Oracle 10. We're de-supporting, or SAP R2, you better move to R3. We don't have that issue in cloud computing. And the thousands of companies that have come after us in cloud computing, they don't have that issue either. Because when you're using a shared service, everybody's on the newest technology. If you find a bug, everybody's bug is fixed. If you find a security problem, everybody's security problem is fixed. This is a big shift forward. And it's a shift forward also in efficiency and speed, because Salesforce.com has an amazing architecture, this multi-tenant architecture. And as an example of that, I want to tell you a story. In January, I was here in Europe, and I was at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. I'm sure that you've heard of it. And I was with a senior vice president from Microsoft, who's a longtime friend of mine. His name is Craig Mundy. And I said, well, Craig, we have about over 100,000 customers at Salesforce now. And Craig, I've got a question for you. And he's like, all right, Mark, what is the question that you have? And I said, well, Craig, this is the question. If Salesforce.com did not exist, Craig, how many servers would those 100,000 customers have to have bought? So if Salesforce.com did not exist, how many servers would those customers have had to have bought? Well, he said, you've got 100,000 customers. They're running about 500,000 applications on your servers, and some of the companies are some very large companies like Japan Post. They've got 150,000 users on your service. Cisco's got 50,000 users on your service. I don't know, 500,000, and then maybe, replication, maybe for make sure we have disaster recovery, we duplicate it, maybe 1 million servers. But we don't have 500,000 servers or 1 million servers at Salesforce.com. We only have 2,000 servers. We have 2,000 servers that run those 100,000 companies, that deliver 500,000 complex applications, 500,000 complex transactions a day, that deliver that in 5 nines of reliability, that deliver that in 300 milliseconds of performance. 2,000 servers. And that is possible because of software. That is possible because of software. And when you look at the major internet sites, when you look at Yahoo or Google or Amazon or eBay or Facebook, you see the same level of efficiency. You see the same level of capability. We are standing on the shoulders of giants because we were able to start Salesforce based on that model. And this is an important model for times like this. It's a sustainable model. You know, for people who are running their own data centers and their own on-premise software and their own single tenants, the amount of energy that they're using is orders of magnitude more than we do. Orders of magnitude more. If you go to our website, green.salesforce.com, you'll see the huge shift that's possible in energy use. The biggest, newest user of energy in the world today, data centers. Massive data centers that are going in all over the world, consuming massive amounts of power, running old software, running old single-tenant software. You know, there is an opportunity in our world to shift into this new technology. That's why for 12 years, I've been walking around stages like this because I feel it is my obligation to bring that message to IT communities like yours, to be able to say there is a better way to lower hardware and software costs, to move into automatic upgrades, to have instant scalability, to have a democracy where we saw all of the community together, to have integrated applications marketplaces, you know, like we see with the Apple App Store, but applied to the enterprise, one-click integration, not whole industries based on integration, and energy efficiency. So when you look at that power, when you look at that capability, you have to say, is it time in our industry for us to have a cloud computing test? Do we need to actually test what is cloud computing? Because as Salesforce has gotten more successful and as the thousands of companies that have started after us become more successful, now everybody says, we are the cloud. Oh, we're the cloud. We have that too. I was recently in Japan at a major forum, and I was walking the trade show floor, and I walked into a booth of a company that said, we have that too. We have software as a service. We have platform as a service. We have database as a service. We have applications as a service. And I walked into the booth, and I said, show it to me. And they walked over, and they said, oh, here it is. And I said, well, that's a rack. He said, that's a rack of computers. I said, yes, that's our cloud. I said, well, how is that cloud computing? They said, well, this rack, we can move it in your data center or we can move it to our data center, and that's cloud computing. And that is not cloud computing. That is not cloud computing, and next generation mainframes are not cloud computing, and virtualization is not cloud computing. Cloud computing requires this efficiency. It requires this democracy, and that is cloud computing. And that's why in France we have to be aware of the false cloud. To think about the false cloud. Because the false cloud is not efficient, it's not democratic, it's not economical, it's not environmental, it's none of those things, and we know that. You can hear it. You know what? The kind of the chuckles that we get in the audience on this slide, everywhere in the world I go, the same reaction. That at a deep level we know what cloud computing is. We know that there's this next potential. But we have to make this change. We have to make this shift. We have to say, we want to go to the next level in how we're automating our companies, how we're delivering our services, our call centers, our sales forces, our fundamental corporate collaboration. That's what's powerful. And for doing this work, for the last 12 years, we've had broad recognition for innovation in cloud computing. Technical innovation, business model innovation, this idea that we can do a better job by moving to the cloud, and to be able to communicate that effectively and consistently over time, and to stick to our values. We didn't make a hybrid cloud. We didn't, bend to customers and said, we only want this in our data center, because we just don't believe that that's the future. It's not that it's not possible. Anything is possible in technology. You can write any software. You can write any hardware. We could have done it. We could have bent. We could have changed who we were as an organization. We could have shifted, but we're not shifting. We're more true today to our values than we ever have been. We have more integrity around these capabilities than we ever have. And as part of that, is our foundation. When we started our foundation, as I mentioned, when I started our company, we started our foundation. 1% of our equity, 1% of our profit, 1% of our time is in a 501c3 public charity called Salesforce Foundation. 4 hours a month, each employee at Salesforce gets for volunteerism, 6 paid days off a year in addition to their vacation. And that means that we'll do hundreds of thousands of hours of community service this year. We've written books on this. We have a website called sharethemodel.org. We've given away tens of millions of dollars in grants. And as I said, we run about 10,000 nonprofits for free on our services. You know, that's an exciting part about my job. I love that part of my job. I want to tell you another part of my job that I love. Another really incredible part of my job that I love is the change that goes on in our industry. I love the change. I have a thirst for the technology. I have a thirst for making things easier and lower cost. I love the change. I love when I started in the industry in mainframes. I wrote my first code on IBM mainframes, and I'm sure many of you remember MVS and VMCMS and the Kix development environment and the mainframes. And I know many customers here still are on those mainframes. But then we moved on to mini computers, you know, lowering the cost off of the mainframes. We saw the revolution of companies like NCR and Data General and Hewlett-Packard emerge because we wanted to get off of the IBM mainframe. And then we moved into the power of Dell, you know, and the power of Microsoft, you know, and the power of Compaq and Gateway, and we moved into client-server computing and PCs. And this was powerful. And then we moved into the desktop, and we moved into desktop cloud computing and into the internet itself. And this was powerful, where we could start to see that in this first generation of cloud computing, like Salesforce pioneered in 1999, that we could move off of client-server computing and we could move into this next generation of the cloud. But now we're seeing something new happen. And many of us know about this new thing. And this new thing is bigger and more exciting and more value and more innovation than any of us have ever witnessed in our lives or in our careers. And that is this mobile internet tsunami that is all over this world. It is a powerful time in our industry because what we're seeing is a fundamental change in cloud computing, watching it go mobile and watching it go social. You know, an amazing thing happened the last time that I was in France. The last time I was in France, social networking users passed email users. That was something that was just phenomenal. How many people here have an account on Facebook? Can you raise your hands? Yeah, amazing. That was not true the last time I was here. How many people here have an account on Twitter? Raise your hands. I saw a lot of the tweets on the ride in today. So, you know, that's a huge shift also. That there are almost 1 billion people on the planet using social networks every day. That cannot be ignored, that shift, that change. You know, there is a broad change in internet usage. If you look at how the internet itself is being used, there's a broad change going on in that. This kind of migration to the social sites, to Facebook or to some of these next generation sites or video sites or Twitter. And the older websites and the older services are kind of dying off, which is the right thing for them to be doing. You can see it in the current ComScore ratings as well. You know, you can see these changes. And it's not just what we're doing on the internet is changing, because it is. What we're doing on the internet is changing, but it's also how we're doing it. So how we're doing it on the internet is changing. How many people have in their pocket a smartphone? Raise your hands if you have a smartphone. Pretty awesome. How many people here have 2 smartphones with them? Raise your hands. Amazing, huh? Yeah. How many people have with them an iPad? Raise your hands. It wasn't even available a year ago. So what we see is this shift. You know, look at this slide. Next generation devices changing how we access the internet. Desktops are flat. The future is mobility and tablets and smartphones dominating how we access the internet. And it's not just about the consumer, and everyone in this room probably knows that. The first thing people do when they get an iPad is they bring it to their CIO and say, hook me up. You know, And a year ago, CIOs were like, no way, I'm not going to do it. But now CIOs are like, all right, I'm going to do it. Look at this share shift. Look at how CIOs' perceptions are changing. A year ago, they said they wouldn't connect iPads to the internet. Now they say they're going to en masse. And other tablets as well, like the Motorola Zoom. Or you're going to see a great one today from Dell called the Dell Streak. That these new technologies, that these new capabilities are having to be brought into the internet because there is a consumerization of IT going on. That is, the consumer says, I want my IT to be like I am using my technology at home. They go home and they're more productive than they are in the enterprise. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's not isolated to here in France, by the way. The power is very simple. Users go home, they use all these great websites, they use their iPads, they're using their smartphones, they're using tremendous websites like Facebook and Twitter, and they come back to the CIO and they say, why do I not have that in the office? And that's why CIOs are scrambling today to make changes to the corporate landscape. And it makes them uneasy and nervous because they have been sold down a dark path by companies like Microsoft, who have not delivered the innovation. Microsoft did not deliver the tablet. They did not deliver the social paradigm. They did not deliver the mobile phone. And CIOs who blindly followed Microsoft or blindly followed IBM down the path of Lotus Notes got lost into this world, now to be confronted by the consumer saying, I want change, I want innovation, I want advancement. And those vendors cannot deliver it. So instead, you have Oracle selling a next-generation mainframe called Exadata and Exalogic. You've got Microsoft over here still trying to sell Windows 7, saying one day we'll have a phone, one day we'll have a tablet. And then over here, you've got IBM saying that Lotus Note 7 is being discontinued. This is a crazy time because the fundamental strengths of the industry are being broken apart and replaced by new players. And that's been great for us as a company, but it's been great for thousands of other companies. And behold the growth of Apple Computer, who now has the largest market cap in the world in technology. They blew away Microsoft. Microsoft stock has been flat for 10 years. If you had bought Microsoft stock 10 years ago, you would not make $1. And you want to know why? Because they have been trying to hold our industry hostage through this lack of innovation and holding on to Windows for too long, they hurt themselves. And that isn't how our industry is, because our industry is about this silent force of innovation where we're constantly making things lower cost and easier to use. It's constantly moving on. And you either embrace the innovation, you either embrace the change, you either embrace the movement, or the movement embraces you, which is what's happened to those other vendors. And so they've had to change and shift. Because now we're making this fundamental shift from Cloud 1 to Cloud 2. When we started, it was all about low cost and easy to use and building sites like Amazon and eBay and Google for the enterprise. But now it's about social. It's about mobile. And it's about new open standards with portable logic and portable code that look more like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. You see, when I started my company in 1999, when I left Oracle, I asked myself a simple question. Why isn't all enterprise software like Amazon.com? That is what I wanted to know. Why isn't all enterprise software like Amazon.com? It was so easy to use. Automatic upgrades, the scale, the reliability. How many people here have used Amazon.com here in France? Almost everybody. So everybody knows if you can build that app, which we were in the mid-90s, we were working with Amazon at Oracle. They were using an Oracle database. They were basically building this technology as an Oracle app. And so I was up there, I'm like, if they can do this, why are we still building enterprise software as if the internet does not exist? But today I have to ask a fundamentally different question. My God, it's been 12 years. And I'll tell you the new question. It's why isn't all enterprise software not like Facebook? You know, and you see some great new companies emerge, like here in France, Seismic, for example, and others, who are defining this next generation of enterprise software And they're doing it by making the technology look like what the consumers are demanding at home. This is an imperative for all of us to pay attention to. You know, our technology is not looking like Amazon, it's looking like Facebook. We have a feeds-based model. Information is pushed to us based on what we want. We choose followers or friends, and based on that, we're getting the information that we need to run our business. We're touching these computers. We're not clicking with a mouse. No, we're not clicking with a mouse anymore, and we're using tablets and smartphones. Our location is known. We're using Android and iOS and Java applications and Ruby applications, and we have a marketplaces of integrated apps. You know, Salesforce.com has the App Exchange. We have thousands of integrated apps. Apple has the App Store, thousands of integrated apps. Android has their huge marketplace of thousands of integrated apps. Amazon launched their App Store last week. Thousands of integrated apps into our ecosystems. And where is the Microsoft App Store? Where is the Oracle App Store? Where is the SAP App Store? Where is the IBM App Store? It's amazing. How is it in 2011 you can't have it? How can you not have that shift? And instead of building an ecosystem, instead of having a robust API, it's more control of the customer. Instead of the fully embracement of the open standards that are happening in our industry today. This is the shift that is going on today. That is why we are so excited about today's program, because we want to bring you into Data Cloud 2. We're going to show you some of our technology. We're going to show you what our customers are going to be doing. We're showing what ISVs are doing. We have a new service that we're rolling out around the world called database.com. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. We have a new application development environment called force.com, replacing Lotus Notes in our customers. We have our Sales Cloud, which is our kind of namesake product. We have our Service Cloud, which is actually developed right here in Paris, where we build the Service Cloud with a company that we bought called Instranet, which was a Paris-based company started by the founder of Business Objects, Alex Dayon. And our employees and our development organization is here in La Défense. And we have our App Exchange, where we have our 1,000 pre-integrated applications, and we have Salesforce Chatter, which is layering the social layer around the systems. At the heart of it, at the heart of everything we do, it starts with the database. This was true in the last paradigm, and it's true in this paradigm as well. And database.com is open for any language, any platform, for any device. It's trusted by our 100,000 customers. It's a Cloud 2 database for social and mobile apps. It's a powerful way to manage your information. And this open, trusted cloud database and infrastructure includes all the things that you would expect in a modern database system, but it's in the cloud. The sandboxes, the global data centers, the highest performance, the reliability, the multi-tenancy, the elasticity, the backup and recovery, the disaster recovery, the mobility, the self-tuning, the social data model, stored procedures and triggers, all of those things right within the database itself. It's a powerful database, and you don't have to go any farther to understand the power of Salesforce.com's database.com, but to look at this slide, which is our throughput. You can see we delivered 26 billion database transactions for our customers last quarter alone. About 500 million database transactions a day. You can see them all at trust.salesforce.com taking place in real time. And in addition to that, you can see that we're managing about 25 billion custom database tables for our customers. And you can see the growth of 123% year over year of our database. We're managing 1 billion lines of code for our customers today. And our average page time is around 300 milliseconds. And we make all of this available publicly, transparently, at trust.salesforce.com. We have no secrets. We totally open all of our systems. We show you how they're running, when we have a problem, what the problem is. It's the nature of cloud computing. And on top of that database, we have Force.com, our application development and deployment environment, our AppForce for building applications, SiteForce for building any website, VMforce, a tool that we've built with VMware where you can build your Java to run on top of database.com, or Heroku, a company we recently acquired, so if you're a Ruby on Rails developer, which is the fastest new language growing in our industry today. If you're a Ruby on Rails developer, we embrace that as well. We embrace every language. and we let you run that on top of Force.com. Force.com is an open platform for building these enterprise apps. You can choose your language. You know, unlike Microsoft, where you can only build in .NET and C#, you can embrace any language with Force.com. You can embrace any website. You can embrace any application. And we give you all of those tools. And in addition to that, we've taken this development environment, and this is how we built not only all the custom apps for our customers, but our own Salesforce automation app, which you're going to hear about today. The world's leading Salesforce automation app is built on top of this environment, so you can take it apart and customize it exactly for you. The next generation of customer service, the one that we build here in Paris, based on the intranet technology, is built with Force.com, and you can take it apart and put it together to make your call center, your contact center, your CRM exactly for you. And we have 1,000 apps pre-integrated and ready to go out of the marketplace. And on top of all of that, on top of the database, the app dev, the sales and service systems, the 1,000 apps in the App Exchange, everything is now wrapped with something that looks like the enterprise version of Facebook called Salesforce Chatter. So if your users know how to use Facebook, if they know how to use Twitter, if they know how to use status updates and profiles and feeds, they can now go forward using Chatter. And runs on every device, as you're about to see, whether it's their BlackBerries or their iPads or their Android devices or their notebooks.